Please rise for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Why back?
So you get more leg room.
I don't need a lot of leg.
I do.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the nice, cool atmosphere in here. I know it's kind of hot and sticky out there. Please remember to silence your phones or turn off your phones. And with that, we will go to the first order of business, which is the items to be voted on. The first item will be from Ms. Weinstein.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes.
Second.
I'm getting that 1 second.
We'll get there.
Oops,
Where's my?
slight
You
delay.
needed leg room.
Where is it? It's there somewhere. Oh, I know I got it somewhere.
Started too soon. Ms. Foxatelli,
Yes.
Mr. Tazi,
Yes.
Mr. D'Amato,
Yes.
Ms. Weinstein,
Yes.
Mr. Lupo,
Yes.
Mr. Myoko.
Yes. Before we go to the second item, I forgot to mention that Mr. Murphy has been excused from today's meeting. Second motion will be also Ms. Weinstein.
I'd like to make another motion to approve the June 19th, 2019 minutes.
Second.
Ms. Foxatelli,
Yes.
Mr. Lupo,
Yes.
Mr. D'Amato,
Yes.
Ms. Weinstein,
Yes.
Mr. Tazi,
Yes.
Mr. Myoko.
Yes. Third motion will be Mr. D'Amato.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to approve to contract with Tom's River Heating and Air Conditioning to install a new 100-pound grease trap at Encore Hall for $1,757,000. Complete the masonry work in-house for a total cost of $2,757. This expense will be provided by account 3150, Property Fund Replacements.
Second.
Ms. Foxatelli,
Yes.
Mr. Tazi,
Yes.
Ms. Weinstein,
Yes.
Mr. Lupo,
Yes.
Mr. D'Amato,
Yes.
Mr. Myoko.
Yes. Thank you. Next, we'll have the committee reports. So will the committee chairpersons or representatives please come up to the table? The first report would normally be Architectural Committee from Mr. Hardman, but there was no meeting, so there is no report for that committee. Next, we'll go to the Community Services Committee, which will be Ms. Eleanor Baradas.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Community Services Committee representatives from the Duplicate Bridge Club were in attendance to appeal the committee's requests for this club to amend their bylaws to conform with our current rules and regulations for clubs and groups. The Community Services Committee discussed several suggestions for advertising, including duplicate bridge lessons for LVW residents. From there, we went to our meeting. The minutes from our June 17th meeting were unanimously approved. Bingo election. Systems are in place for holding this election tonight, Wednesday, June 17th, at 6:30 p.m. Doors will be open from 6:30 p.m. until 7:15 p.m. at Willow Hall. Susan Leslie Randall's resume was submitted for a seat on this committee. Mrs. Leslie Randall will be invited to our next meeting, Thursday, August 15th. LVWCreeper.com. We are encouraging all clubs and groups to take advantage of this valuable tool to increase awareness of all activities at their club or group meetings. Service Committee. Mike Marizio, reported the Newcomers Channel 1973 is showing an aerial view of the LVW featuring our outdoor amenities and beautiful landscaping. You must look at this station. It is phenomenal, the job that Mike did. His next upcoming video is going to be featuring our clubhouses. Club Subcommittee. The committee received one application for a caregiver support group. Mary Lighthop, our recreational director, will follow up with Community Services recommendations. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, August 15th at 1 p.m. in the association office. The meeting was adjourned at 3 p.m. Viston, 31 trips, 6 for shopping, 22 doctor's appointments, 3 blood work appointments. Helping Hands, 78 calls completed by 22 volunteers. Printing, 15 jobs for clubs, bus rides, 382 passengers, and the Welcoming Committee had 6 visits. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next report will be the Finance Committee from Beverly Kraft.
Good afternoon. The Finance Committee met on June 25th, 2019 at 1 p.m. at the association offices. During the meeting, the committee reviewed the financials for the period of ending May 31st, 2019. Mr. Schultz provided the committee with an update on the solar panel projects at Club Encore and the association offices, indicating that the panels are installed and ready to produce energy pending a final approval from the state and JCP&L. At the request of the board, the committee reviewed the window glass replacement policy and provided trustee liaison Eugene Murphy with a recommendation. The committee is set to meet again on July 23, 2019. Our meeting will start with a tour of the maintenance area at 1 p.m., then continue on to the association offices. This is respectfully submitted by Mary Louise Donor, Chairperson of the Finance Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kraft. The next would be the Administration Committee, but that was it canceled, so there is no report from Judy Langridge. Thank you. The next report will be the Recreation Report from Mary Lightype.
Thank you, Mr. Mayoko. Good afternoon, everyone. All residents are encouraged to attend a special bingo club election of officers Wednesday, July 17th in Willow Hall. Doors will open at 6:30 and close at 7:15. Photo ID with proof of residence will be required. Currently, there are self-nominations for each office. Nominations from the floor will be accepted until 7:30 p.m. Only unit owners are permitted to hold office. All residents are eligible to vote. Community help is needed to keep bingo going. Refreshments will be served. Tickets are on sale now at Willow Hall for our annual Grandkids Day on Saturday, July 20th, beginning at 1 p.m. Interactive fun for the kids of all ages as we present Rock and Roll Fairy Tales, a modern-day Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs on tour. Following the show, ice cream, fishing, trains, TV demo, and jewelry crafting are to be enjoyed by all. Tickets are $2 per person. We welcome back Darren Williams, the awesome Aussie, as he presents his all-new Rock and Roll Heaven show. Darren's phenomenal talent and electrifying showmanship guarantees an unforgettable evening of outstanding entertainment. Regrettably, we find it necessary to cancel the second bus to the Yankee game on July 31st due to lack of interest. Ticket holders are asked to bring their tickets to the Willow Recreation Office for a refund. We had taken an extensive waiting list. People had requested a second bus, Unfortunately, when we called the residents, when we did get the second bus, many had made other plans and no longer wanted to go. So I'm sorry to those we had hoped to get the second bus. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lighthipe. Next, we'll go to the community manager's report, but before we do that, I see we have a question. Yes.
Hi, question for Ms. Lighthipe.
Speak to the mic.
Question for Ms. Lighthipe, with regard
Please
to...
announce your name and your
Sorry,
address.
I forget. Wayne Steinman, Sterling Street. With regard to the elections this evening for the bingo committee, I'm fully aware of the problems that have led up to the necessity for an election today. However, how are we supposed to know who is running or to attend this meeting with some foreknowledge of someone's abilities and qualifications to serve on the committee? I understand one can nominate from the floor, so that would be on the spur of the moment. I have heard through the grapevine there are some people who are running as a slate, but we don't know who they are and what their qualifications are.
Yeah, that'll all be announced tonight. There's one person for each office have already self-nominated, and we will take nominations from the floor this evening.
Mary, we were talking about, I don't know if you scheduled this yet or not, a one call for it?
Yeah, I was going to do that after the meeting.
So perhaps you could add that to it, that, these are the nominations we have for each office, so everybody would have it.
I have it if you'd like. Would you like it now?
I think that would be appropriate, and maybe
that
put
okay?
it on the
Why
one
don't you
call
make that
as well.
statement?
I thought I had it. Okay, we have self-nominations. President Linda Miller, Vice President Rose Kestner, Secretary Marie Piera, Treasurer Eugene Drew, Assistant Treasurer Antoinette Garacci. And then that's one for each office, and we will take nominations from the floor as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Another question, please. Walter Diluski, Stratford Court. This is a bingo-related question. I didn't know this was happening this evening, but anyway. When there was a breakup of the offices of the club, there were funds that were safeguarded and taken out of, I think, the account of the bingo club, okay, and they were put in another account for safekeeping. I understand why. Can you tell us the amount that was in there? Can we give an approximate, because we don't have it
You
in
can give
front
an
of us right now?
approximate.
Not exactly, but is it $20,000? Is it $2,000?
I wish, no, approximately 3,500.
3,500. Okay. The other question I want to ask, the funds that are taken in on the bingo, after expenses, are all those funds eventually given back to the members in the sense of winning and that type of thing? Or is any of the funds drift off to other projects?
No, the prize money is given out that evening, and whatever is left over is in the account. And then bingo contributes, they support the monthly movie, they pay for the monthly movie each month, and then they contribute to different things throughout the year. So the funds go to the entire community, for the benefit of the entire community. Anything in addition to the prize money, or over and above the prize money.
Okay. So the officers of the clubs make those decisions?
Well, in conjunction with the association. Previously, they bought us 30 of these tables. That's one example of what they, have done in the past.
Well, that's nice, okay, but considering that we're all members, okay, you know, you'd think that there would be maybe something a little broader, and, you know, I had no idea that they were buying tables and buying this and buying that. I thought all of the funds were going back to the members.
Well, that's the one way, see, the state put limitations on where the monies can go for bingo, so it has to go back to the memberships, things that the membership in general uses. So they bought chairs and stuff for the general membership. So they have to be careful about where the money comes back to. It's used for everyone. Everyone's a member in Leisure Village West.
Right, okay. So, well, that's why I'm curious about, you know, what happens, okay? Because sometimes, I'll bring up an instance of the recycling club where all of a sudden the funds were going to a bathroom or something like that. You know,
That's a separate organization. That one is not governed by the state, whereas bingo is governed by the state.
Okay, but if the officers decided to do so, all that money could go back to prizes for bingo, correct?
No. Not all of it, no. There's a lot of things, as Mary said, what the club contributes to. One of the big ones is they were the sole funders for the ASCAP and BMI licenses, which allowed every
I said after expenses.
After expenses, that's why there's money in the fund yet. Because
Yeah,
if they
okay.
want to do anything, if the club wants
Okay,
to have
and
a
I
luncheon.
realize in the future they may have to buy something. I'm not saying that it should run out of zero balance, okay? But I just, you know, $3,500 is there. You know, maybe the prizes should be somewhat larger, or, you know.
Well, if that were the case, maybe the board for bingo would make that determination that they would increase the prizes, but that is bingo's decision.
Aren't the prizes controlled by the state? By the type of game that's played?
Yeah,
But $50 as opposed to other places that give out $250? I don't know.
yeah, the program has to go for approval, the payouts, as you're
Those
saying.
payouts go for approval? So,
Well, they're given when they submit the license.
Right.
Okay. Well, most other clubs in the village here, okay, run independent of the Board of Trustees and everybody else, okay? They may be subject to review or something like that, okay? But the other clubs do not feel that they have to contribute to this and they have to do that, okay?
Walter, though, the bingo club is not like any other club. It is a very unique club, and in the past, the association ran the games. And then there was a change in laws, and they no longer were allowed to. So a club, quasi-club, was created to run the games. The profits, after all the payouts and all the expenses for the food or the tickets or whatever, are used for the general benefit of the community as a whole. So the board, along with the recreation department and the association managers, have at various times made the decision to use the money for tables, chairs,
License.
music license, right, et cetera. It's not going back so that every resident is going to get $1 in their pocket. And it's...
No,
and
I don't
it's-
expect that, but I think the people that participate in bingo.
Well, that's why
okay,
this
they're the-
election tonight is very important, because this board is
Well,
part
that's
of
why
that
I'm asking the
decision.
question, okay? Because it is important.
It is important.
Okay, and how it's run, and who's going to be on the board. I had some consideration of being on it, okay, but it seems like it's greatly influenced by outside sources other than the board of the bingo club.
What does that
Thank
mean?
you very much.
What does that mean?
What is that? Outside sources.
I think there's pressure put on the bingo people to do certain things, okay, to buy tables and do this and do that.
wouldn't say
Are they
there's
independent
pressure.
or not?
If I can summarize, your concern is what will happen to the surplus funds that are generated after a bingo event, if it's successful. So after expenses are paid and the prizes are given out to the participants of the games, there may be, let's say for that evening, $250, and then the following week, another $250, and now you have $500. What happens with that $500? Who has the right to say where that money's going to go? So that's going to be a joint effort by the trustees or the officers of the bingo club in conjunction with this board and the association. So it's not up to the trustees or the officers of the bingo to make the final determination. They will have an input along with this board.
And Mr.
That's
Mayoka,
what
the
that's what I
oversight.
meant by outside
Yeah, that's the
influence.
oversight.
Okay,
Mr.
thank you.
Mayoka, if I may add one thing, where the funds go, the overflow funds, that goes into the report to the games of chance. When we use the BMI, when we pay the BMI licenses, that goes on the report to the games of chance, where the excess funds are going.
Yeah, and I understand. I'm just surprised. Most clubs would, okay, make sure that their members are taken care of first. Okay. It seems like in bingo, one call there's an outside influence that says, well, the board would like you to do this and the board would like you to do that. That's the distinction I'm trying to make.
I don't know what you mean by outside. And I think that that's a disservice to the residents and to the board by suggesting that there's some kind of influence out there in Heatherland that's making decisions for us.
Well, I think Mr. Mayoka, one call, just contradicted you, that those decisions will be made jointly between the Board of Trustees and the officers of the club.
Yes, we make the decisions.
Every
Is that-
member
is that-
of the
is that
village is a
correct?
member of the bingo club. Every member in the village is a member of the bingo club. Those resources, the extra resources or additional profits, whatever you want to call them, are dispersed to the benefit of the entire community, and those decisions are made with consultation from the association, from the Board of Trustees, and the Board of the Bingo.
Okay. Well, that's what I was,
Well, that's not outside influence.
well, it's influence that is not applied to any other club in the village.
It's
Thank you.
not
Because it's
a
not-
club like any
Not the
other
same thing,
club.
Walter.
Okay, we'll go on to the next item. Community Manager's
Okay.
report.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I was reminded, I got a phone call from Mrs. Klotz just the other day, and it reminded me to tell you all about a workaround that we have. So you know how you have to call both gates if you're expecting a visitor? There is a little workaround that Howard came up with that allows the communication between the two gatehouses. It's not one database, and they're not all working on one database, but they can instant messenger, sort of like an instant messenger between each other, and alert the other guard at the other office that you are expecting your visitor, so they can log it at the same time. So it's sort of a workaround. It's not really where we want it to be, but it does work, and I should remind everybody to use that to make sure the guard knows, I understand you have communication, can you let the other gatehouse know? This way you don't have to call another gatehouse. So that's a nice little workaround. It was also pointed out to me that some people have turned in their election ballot already. You can't do that. We put a sample ballot in the bulletin, so you have, that's a sample, it's marked sample. It's not ready yet. We're not ready to send those out. You'll get those soon as the date becomes available after the candidates forum, and then they'll go out. So then we'll accept them after that. Next, I know there's a lot of talk, scuttlebutt on social media about what is and what doesn't require a permit. But the best place for you to ask that question is the association office. I know it's not always clear and it's always a fine point where you do need and don't need, because some things unfortunately don't, most things do. I would call the association office instead of, talking amongst your neighbors, because if that person has it wrong, they're telling you the wrong thing too. So it'd be best to call the association directly. I don't know if you had something else you wanted to add, Jim.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just one item. Water meter replacements, they're going very well with the township. There's about 300 or so residents that have not had their meters replaced yet. We're urging you, if you have not had your meter replaced, this is the water meter through VEPO, I believe the name of the company is, VEPO. Please get that done. It's very important. They're going to be sending out a follow-up letter if you don't, with some remarks that we probably won't care for. But please, just if you haven't had your meter done yet, please get your meter replaced. It's a quick 20-minute, half-hour job at the most. So we just urge that everybody follows through and gets their meters replaced. That's all I have. And, one other item. Temperatures is going to be in the plus 100s this weekend. Be safe. Do not turn your air conditioners on and then turn them back on at 3 in the afternoon and expect your house to cool. We recommend over this next heat wave, leave your AC on and maintain that temperature. Most of our calls over the last couple days have been, they've turned them on at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then right before we leave at 4 o'clock, my AC is not working. We get there, it's working, it just can't catch up. So we just ask you to keep your AC on during this period. If you want to raise the temperature a little bit at night or when you go out, that's fine, but try and maintain a good temperature. That's it. Thank you.
That's it, sir?
Wow, thank you. I have a comment in addition to what Mr. Schultz mentioned, and Mr. Snyder. We are having extreme heat spells right now. Observation is that some of those waste containers along the roadways for those that are sitting by the benches are for just general waste, and we're finding that a lot of dog waste has been put there. So those that are waiting for the bus, unfortunately, get that nice whiff, if you can imagine what I'm talking about. So please, when you walk your dog, bring the waste back to your trash can. Last month in June, one of the meetings we addressed a concern that a couple of residents had, or actually a request to consider, and that is to take in live phone calls during the course of these business meetings. After intense discussion, the board felt that that would be a difficult task to accomplish, so we're going to have to vote no on that. There's a lot of logistical issues with this environment, how we run operations here, to allow residents to call in with their questions, during the course of our meeting. So please, for those at home, you're welcome to call the office, call any of the trustees, send a letter, send an email, and we will try to respond as quickly as possible. Thank you. Nothing else on unfinished business. We will go to new business. Does the board have anything to discuss?
Yes, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to change the children's hours at the Encore Pool for the rest of the season, to change those hours to be 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
And why would we want to do that? What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts behind that is that currently the 1 o'clock is when children have to leave the Encore Pool area. And during the hottest part of the day, between 1 and 4, they have no recourse of a place to cool themselves, especially with the temperatures we're going to be having this current weekend.
Okay. Comments from the board?
I think it's a good proposal. I'd like to try it. I do think that the Willow Pool can be maintained as we'll have where adults can go if they don't want to be around children. But I think it's very difficult for to ask the children not to participate in the heat of the day.
Yes, it is.
All right, we have somebody at the podium.
Mary Lou Ruggiero, 545 C Norwich Court. I don't mean to get grandparents upset. I have 8 grandchildren. I have 2 young ones who just visited me 2 weeks ago. As a grandparent who looks after them from 10 to 1 in a pool, that's enough already. I mean, I really feel that. And I love my grandkids. I think it works out perfectly. We leave, we go home, they shower, we have a nice lunch, they cool down. Before you know it, it's time for them to go to another pool. I think since we are an adult community, I believe they really have a great benefit with both pools, the time, and how it works. And I never see some of the things that everyone else sees. I go to the pool. The kids behave. They do what they're supposed to. I hear things about the pool that it's like, I don't know, unless I see things differently, I don't see a problem. There was something one day and it didn't concern the kids. I called Mary and the next day it was rectified. So I don't mean to insult grandparents who may want to agree. But I think as an adult community, the children who come here are very lucky.
For discussion, for my take on it, I would rather just increase 1 hour at Encore, make it 12 to 2, and then, as we had proposed 2 years ago, have the Willow Pool from 3 to 7 instead of 4 to 7. That is just adding 1 hour of time in each of the pools. That's what I would like to do.
Mr. Telly?
The problem was the 3 o'clock part at the Willow Pool. There are a lot of the seniors who cannot take the sun, and they don't come to the pool until the sun starts to go down, which is about 3 o'clock, and that was the problem at the time that it was defeated.
It was never defeated, it was changed before it went into effect.
It was not accepted.
The
It was
pools
changed.
were made and accepted, and then before we gave it 2 weeks, it was changed. That's what happened. You weren't on the board then.
The kids weren't even out of school, and the then president changed what was recommended and accepted by the board previously.
If I might say something. I don't go to the pool that often, but I can understand Mary Lou and the changes. I would just like to see it done on a weekend, because I think when you get the bulk of the children is then. I'm willing to try it on a test basis, but not on a permanent basis.
Well, we have 2 comments, 2 different times. One that was presented by Mr. D'Amato, one that was presented by Mr. Lupo. So you're recommending the change to which one?
I can understand, I think the 10 to 2 o'clock is a little bit, I kind of agree with Chuck on the 12 to 2. But I just do it on a test basis.
10 to 2. 10
there's a-
to 2.
10 to 2, right.
Right, the 10 to 2, I'm willing to compromise. My observation of children at the pool within the last 2 weeks is that the majority are during Monday through Friday, not on the weekends.
So we have a motion on the floor, we don't have a second, and we're talking about amending your motion, it sounds like.
Okay, so...
That's correct. So
All right.
you want to withdraw your motion or amend it?
I'd like to amend my motion to change the children's hours at Encore Pool to be 10 to 2.
And then
Any change to Willow?
3 to 7.
We'll leave Little one.
Okay.
So 10 to 2 and 4, and 10 to 2 at Encore and 4 to 7?
Yes, leave the Willow at 4 to 7 and 10 to 2 for Encore.
So all we're doing would be increasing 1 hour of children's hours, which are 4 to 14, not, not if they're 14, they're an adult. If they're 14, they're still a child, 4 to 14. So anyone under 15 years old and older than 3 is a child at both pools. So 10 to 2 is the change at
Encore.
That's the only thing that's on the
10 to 2.
And I second that.
Okay. Question?
I have a question. Phyllis Shirago, Burton's Court. Al, is this something that has been in a subcommittee? I don't understand your bringing it up at this point. We do have a pool committee, am I correct?
We have a pool committee that has met, makes their recommendations to the board, gets approved. The board, previous boards, have changed what the pool committees have recommended. As Mr. Lupo brought up, the times at Willow were to start at 3 o'clock instead of 4. The then president, while the kids were still in school, changed it back to 4 o'clock. So the pool committee makes the recommendations, the board has the final say.
I have grandchildren, and they come within those hours. I've had no problem. I haven't seen children fainting from the heat for those few hours in between. I mean, and they all have air-conditioned houses. They're not going to be sick. I think that they should stay how it is, the way it remains.
Again, we have 2 pools.
Right, both pools.
So you're against giving the children 1 additional hour?
Yes.
Okay.
Stop the nonsense. That's what's on the table. 1 extra hour at Encore. That's what's at the table. It's not nonsense. We did 1 hour extra at Willow. It was approved, and then it was taken away before it was even implemented. So now we're changing and saying, add an extra hour at Encore and give it a try. Not forever. Give it a try. If it works out, it works out. That's what happened 2 years ago. It didn't even get a try.
Mary Ruggiero, 545C Norwich Court. Just to add it to that, what you're saying, it's only an hour. So it could work the other way. Why bother if it's only an hour? Why change it? I don't think, what I feel we do sometimes in the time we're spending on this with so many issues that everybody has in their minds today, I think this is a small thing compared to many more important things that could be being looked at. I don't think, they're kids, they have their whole life. We're worrying about an hour for kids. They all have the rest of their life. What I think we should worry about, and the people who should be pleased about what goes on at the pool, again, and I have 8 grandkids, are the people, the adults who are living here. There are lots of people. I agree with Sarah's comment about the sun. I know many people that wait until after a certain time to go to the pool because of whatever reasons, skin, cancer, treatments, medication. I think this is another example that only the residents should be considered first. I'm sorry, that's the way I feel.
Thank you.
Crazy.
I'll take the hit on this. Hold on 1 second, please. Your argument about the sun, we have 2 pools. We have 2 pools. If we're saying that 4 to 7 is the great time for seniors to swim, there are 2 pools. We're not changing that. We're saying we're adding 1 hour at the height of the sun. All right, so if people are worried about the seniors here that have skin cancer, that are going to go out to the pool at 4 o'clock, there are 2 pools to go to. And we're not changing anything. We're not even suggesting changing anything there. So the extra hour at Willow is not even in, right, I'm saying it's not even in the discussion at this point.
Yeah, and why was it denied at Willow?
Go to the next one.
Why what?
Why was it denied at Willow?
I'm sorry,
The extra hour at Willow, why was it denied? People didn't want it.
Because the argument that was made when I wasn't here was that people wanted to swim at that time.
I never even see your grandchildren at the pool. I mean, I go to the pool early, so this really doesn't hurt me.
Wait a
in
minute,
any way.
wait a minute. It does not matter whether I have grandchildren here or not,
All right.
okay? So that has nothing to do with it. When my grandchildren come, we go to Willow because one of the three is too young. So all three of them go there. So, but that's not the issue here. The issue is allowing the kids to have an extra hour, and I would have loved to have had only an hour gap between the two pools. But we're compromising on that suggestion and saying, okay, we'll keep the 2 hours. So it's 2 o'clock, and then you go swimming at 4 o'clock at the other pool. But whether I have grandchildren or not means nothing.
Okay. Karen, who you're Buckingham. I go to the pool early. I go at 10. I'm probably leaving at 1. Sometimes I leave at 2 because I have that extra hour without the kids splashing or in the deep end. And you're telling us to go to, Willow at dinner hour. That's not when seniors want to go to the pool. They want to eat. And when I'm leaving...
That's what Sarah just said.
And when I'm leaving, those seniors are coming in at 1 o'clock because they know that the kids are leaving. They're not coming in because it's later because of the sun. They're leaving because they know the kids are leaving. I mean, they're coming because the kids are leaving.
That's their choice.
So this property is owned by the seniors. It's for the seniors. And it shouldn't be a burden on us to go to our facility and get splashed at and have to listen to the screaming because the grandparents don't take care of their kids.
Wow, so now you're worried about noise.
You're worried about the children who were nice and quiet with 20 of them in the pool yesterday, and nobody's splashing anybody, getting their hair wet.
Okay, next question.
Hi, I'm Jackie Meeks. I live at 45A Cambridge. I like kids. I like kids in the pool. This issue is about access for our seniors, and I would just say, I'm a grandmother. It's important to me to see my grandkids. Okay. This is a letter from the Board of Trustees.
Not discussing that now.
Regarding access for seniors to the meeting, actually, homebound seniors. Meeting at...
Is this regarding the pool hour change?
No.
This is it's the only forum for discussion is going to be the matters regarding the
Oh, so
proposal
we're
that's
not
on
at
the
the end
table. This is not open forum, no.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Never mind.
Can we repeat the motion that's on the floor then?
The motion on the floor is to change the children's hours at Encore Pool from 10 to 1 to 10 to 2. Seconded, if you will.
I second it.
Any further discussion from the board? No? Let's take it to vote.
Ms. Foxatelli? Mr. Tazi? Mr. D'Amato?
Yes.
Ms. Weinstein?
Yes.
Mr. Lupo?
Yes.
Mr. Mayoko?
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you. This will be, it can be reversed at any time by the board. Again, as Mr. D'Amato mentioned, it's not permanent, or, no, it was Mr. Lupo. It's not permanent, we're not changing it in black and ink, that it's going to be the rest of the season.
Yeah, we'll give it a
give it a
trial.
trial.
We'll give it a trial for 3 to 6 weeks. 3 to 6 weeks. Hey, what do you want, 2 to 3? 2 to 3 weeks? We didn't give the last chance 2 weeks when we said we were going to give it 2 weeks. So if we give it 3 to 6 and we change it in 1 week, it doesn't matter. The thing is that we just voted for it, it's approved.
It'll be a trial.
3 to 6 weeks, agreed?
Let's do 3 weeks.
Chuck, be nice.
3 to 6 weeks?
And don't float.
Give it a
Okay.
chance. Give it a chance. There are a lot of people that like to have their grandchildren.
Okay, can I, give it a chance, see how it works. Give it a couple of weeks, if for some odd reason it's abused, then you can always come take another vote. But I don't foresee changing it 1 hour is going to make or break the pool season. I would like to see it on a trial basis, to be determined.
Let's say approximately 3 weeks, and we'll begin the program this Friday. Okay?
We'll start it Friday.
Sounds good.
Starting Friday. Thank you.
3 weeks.
10 to 2.
Just a reminder, the next meeting, next open meeting will be the budget meeting, which will be held on Wednesday, July 24th, 7 p.m. here at Willow. The business portion of this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
Lou.
We're going.
Bio break, anyone?
No. She can't stay for 20 more minutes? It's so, I know, but it's so.
We're going to take a 2-minute break. All right. We're now ready for the audience part of the program. Please remember that this is general discussion. Any discussion regarding the budget should be presented at next week. Thank you. Go ahead.
That part will be. Art Pedowitz, 1171B Thornbury. First, I want to compliment Mary on the great program she's been putting on. I know we didn't have a meeting after your last showtime, but it was great. Keep it up. All right. All right. One of the reasons that a lot of people don't come to Encore till 1 o'clock, and maybe it's because all the lounges, or most of the lounges are taken up by families with children. The residents want to have the lounge chairs, but they now have to wait. Now that it's going to be 2 o'clock. And part of the problem is, if our lifeguards are supposed to be, we're paying them to follow the rules, there are people who put towels down there at 10 o'clock in the morning over a series of lounges, then they disappear. So those lounges technically are unavailable. If nobody's in the pool and those lifeguards see towels, they should be removed automatically. So people can get the lounges even if they have children. All right.
No reserving.
The other thing that I'll bring up, now skip one to next week, but there was, I saw someplace a comment that one of the board meetings only had 10 people. Now, this is not because of apathy or anything else. People are interested. But I believe that one meeting, it was in the evening. The weather was lousy that day. In fact, I couldn't even come out because I was sick, but that's why the people didn't show up. But you have a lot more than 10 people here today, and we haven't even hit the topics yet. I'm sure next week will be a little more crowded. So those are the comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jan Petito, 103D Buckingham. I'm going to read what I have
Can
here.
you lower the mic a little bit?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm short. I want to make sure that everything I once said and what my neighbors once said is here. So I'm going to read what I wrote. In the past year, there have been 2 incidences that I have been aware of involving renters and police. One on my block, bringing out the police more than once. I had spoken to Mr. Schultz and some board members about this and have been told per New Jersey law, renters have more rights than homeowners and that it is up to the landlords to check them out. Does this include everyone else living with that renter, or is it just, what do they do? Do they just do credit checks, criminal checks, background checks, references? Does LVW management check out the renter also, or just accept the landlord's information? Just exactly what does LVW require? If there is a police record on the renter or any other person living with the renter, are they allowed to live in LVW? How does LVW determine our safety if a background check shows a criminal background for the renter or someone else living with them? At almost 76 years old, I don't want to move again, but I also don't want to stay here living in fear. I moved here because I felt it was a safe, gated 55-plus community. It most definitely did not make me feel safe to have police officers running by my house telling me to go inside and not come out. It doesn't make me and my neighbors feel safe to hear cars and all kinds of characters, one verified by the police to have a criminal background, to be driving in at all hours, day and night, more so on weekend nights around 11, 12 at night. This has been an ongoing problem for over a year, and it has us really worried. And I really, really urge you to relook at LVW rules concerning renters and everyone else living with that renter, to tighten up the requirements. While any positive changes wouldn't solve all the problems, it could possibly minimize them and help keep we residents from living in fear. That's it.
Thank you.
Oh, and one more thing. If you have any questions, you can talk to me later.
Ann Niebergall, Cambridge Circle, just 2 quick ones. Mr. Schultz, you indicated before you started receiving ballots for the BOT election. Can you indicate what you're doing with those ballots?
That's a sample ballot. It's
I
destroyed.
understand.
It's destroyed.
Are you destroying them
I'm
anyway?
sorry, Sam has been holding on to it, but it's marked sample on it.
Okay. I'm sorry, okay. The other thing, I just want to let everyone know, I got my water meter bill today, and I noticed it was not the normal amount that I normally receive during this quarter, and I called the MUA, and she indicated to me that when the meter, my meter was put in, it kind of fell into a gap, and they're going to relook at them, and you'll get, like, it's an estimate, in other words. So what I just wanted to say to anyone, so that you don't get hyper about it, is if you see your bill and it's not what you normally get, it's an estimate because you fell out of that gap when they were doing the switch over. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Phyllis Shirago on Burton's Court. I'm here to just discuss why our maintenance has not been deducted. I'm sure you know it, and I spoke to Michelle, and she very kindly and intelligently explained to me the reasons, and we're lucky to have her, but I don't think this should happen. I've worked my whole life. I'm familiar with computers. I've always had things deducted or withdrawn or deposited through the computer. This has never happened. And I'm on a limited income, and to have this money not be deducted, and it's almost July, the end of July will be almost next week, and to go into August, that means there will be 2 months that would be deducted. I don't know, it was working fine before it came out, exactly on time. I don't know whether we should go back to doing checks, which seems antiquated. Obviously, this is not working. I don't know why you picked this. I'm sure there was reasons, but it's not working. This should not happen. Is there
We had it.
Yeah, okay, we understand. We were using TOPS. We got an upgraded version of TOPS. With that upgrade, things that were supposed to work exactly the same, in practice, are not. And this is the second month that we're utilizing the new payment plan?
Third month,
It's
really.
the third month. So this is the first month that there has been an issue. But if that money was taken out of your account on the 10th, it wasn't, but if that money was taken out of the 10th, you wouldn't have it. It's sitting there. So when August comes, the one from July will already have been taken out. It should be taken out by Monday, the latest. Hopefully we have the money by then. See, the problem is the software generates a email to the residents that are having the automatic deduction. The calls that the accounting staff were receiving when that first email went out and said on the 8th that your payment was being processed. People couldn't understand the difference between processed and being taken out. So the calls that they got were, you can't take my money out, it's only the 8th. Reality is that our payments are due on the 1st. We have been able to have this luxury of not having the money taken out until the 10th. But in all reality, it should be taken out on the 1st. But we cannot go back to the old version. The new version that we are with will get resolved. It's just and it's nothing that we have done. It's the vendor. And it's the vendor processing the payments to the bank.
I understand what you're
Okay?
saying.
So there's no way of going back. Have a little patience. It's going to come out. It's not like you're going to get double billed. The money was already supposed to be taken out. So just don't spend it. It's still in your account. come August, it should be by the 10th or the 11th, depending on holidays and weekends. That's the difference. When they just changed over now, the banks or the processor that you're dealing with is saying there's a 3-day delay, and weekends and holidays are not in those 3 days. So a holiday weekend like July 4th now made it 4 days. So something happened in their processing that the file got corrupted. It's nothing that we can do.
No, I understand what you're saying, but again, I don't think that's good business practices. I don't.
And it's not us, and we can't do anything about it.
But you picked them.
What you're experiencing now.
We picked the same company that we were using.
Let me just say, what you're experiencing now, the thing that you brought up now, is something new. That's a new anomaly that's happening. Since we started with them, it has been working somewhat properly.
Somewhat is the word, actually.
Somewhat, correct. What we were trying, and we would have fixed this eventually, because it's when we tell them to process it, and when the first party and the second party actually does that, there's some things that they have to do by law. They have to send out an email to you, giving you time, 3 days' time, to say, you know what, I'm going to change it. I don't want it in that ACH. I want you to take it out of this ACH. And they're required by law to do that. So that's something new in itself that has to be done that we didn't have the capability of doing at one time. Now we have that capability. But this new anomaly, the one that you're talking about now, is where they didn't take anything out of your account at all right now, is a separate and distinct problem that they are working to resolve. And that should be resolved, hopefully, Thursday, Friday, be resolved. And then, from then on, we can smooth out that other problem that we were having.
So I trust your opinion, Joe. So you feel that this will resolve itself?
That one glitch will resolve because that's more of a programming problem. The rest of it was a timing issue, right? We gotta.
Well, it never.
And let me just say this: that everyone should know this. That technically, it's due on the 1st, right?
So just take it out on the 1st. I mean, what difference does
that's
it
good.
make?
That's probably good for you, but it might not be good for your neighbor. And we're all used to it, that we were hitting this on the 10th, right? We were mostly taking it out of the 10th, 11th, somewhere in that time frame. I think we have to we and you all have to come to a different mindset, and hopefully that mindset will say somewhere, I'm just picking a number, between the 4th and the 10th, your transaction may occur. And we'll try to level that out as best as we can between the 3 parties that are involved. But I think we're going to go through a little bit of growing pains until that gets resolved.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you. For anyone, I guess everybody now does things electronically. We have also, personally, we have had issues with the financial institution that we use. They went through a conversion and upgrade, and our electronic processing just came to a dead halt for several days. So we contacted the financial institution, the bank, local bank, and we got a song and a dance, and you persist, and eventually it does get resolved. The association has sent a letter to the president of the company expressing dissatisfaction and frustration. We have received a response back. It was a weak response, but it was a response anyway. So we are trying to stay on top of it to get it resolved, and the association is doing what it can to let you know that, there's a glitch, and please bear with us. Thank you. Yes.
Marge King, 688A Friar Court. I would like to request that the Board of Trustees meet with the Finance Division sometime before the Finance budget meeting of next week. We have had approximately 24 years experience with 2 different methodologies of, excuse me, of maintenance payments. And there is an inequity that has resulted in the units that are smaller paying a much larger percentage of maintenance than the other units. So I would just like them to take a look at this. If the two groups could meet. The Finance Division has all the numbers, and you've got your numbers. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Jackie Meeks, 45A Cambridge Circle. This is in regards to homebound residents and a workshop meeting on June 19th, 2019. My homebound resident friend received this letter. Residents may email the Board of Trustees at any time to BOT, blah, blah, blah. If a resident does not have an email, concerns or questions may be made to any individual trustee via telephone. All trustees are listed in the resident directory. The board will continue to address and to listen to concerns, questions, comments, or recommendations to the board. Sincerely, Louis Mayoko, Board President. This is a response from a homebound resident to the Board of Trustees. At the last meeting, Mr. Mayoko discussed my letter of May 28th, 2019, in regards to homebound residents having the means to participate in meetings. Mr. Mayoko stated the board would discuss the matter and come up with a solution in 30 days. Mr. Mayoko did suggest a phone line dedicated to call-ins from residents or better options so that all residents can communicate concerns. A letter drafted June 20th, 2019 was sent to me by Mr. Mayoko. This letter states that residents may email the BOT or call any trustee by phone. So basically, you have come full circle, and we are back where we started. Emails do not get answered. Trustees do not answer their phones. Messages could be deleted or ignored. There is no assurance that a resident who is homebound was heard. You have decided to do nothing, to just keep everything the same. The system does not work. There is a great need for something better. All you have done is mention my letter to appease me. As usual, nothing has changed or improved. The board continues to refuse to make changes to benefit all residents. Connie Police, 41D, Cambridge. And I would say yes to what Joyce just, not Joyce, Marge, to what Marge just said. You guys need to get with an accountant before the BOT budget meeting. Thank you.
As I mentioned in the unfinished business part of the business meeting, the board did discuss that option referred to in my letter, and it was decided that it was impractical, could not be done. There are many avenues, as I had mentioned to you before, which is an email, call the trustees. We have all received numerous phone calls. Some of them are very specialized in that it's a one-to-one problem. Others in general are discussed and brought up here at the board meeting as a general announcement to all residents. So I apologize, well, I don't apologize. We've looked at it as best we could, and having phone calls live during the meeting is impractical and just cannot be done. Will not be done.
Could you pick up the phone and call Connie and tell her that?
I'm assuming that she's listening right now,
We're
right?
not getting responses from the board.
Well, she got a response.
Then why am I here?
I don't know. I do not know.
I'm
The
here.
agenda is put out prior to the meeting.
On Fridays.
On Friday, so you have what we are going to discuss. If there are any questions that need to be discussed by the board prior to that meeting, you have the information.
Gentlemen, you
And
do
when
not
we-
get back to us.
You get a response right away. We don't meet every week. Do we meet every week?
Do you respond right away?
When we meet, we are 7 people that have to meet and discuss. Read the response when you get an automatic acknowledgement. It says, we've received your letter. We will discuss it at our next meeting. that meeting may not take place for 2 weeks. So you're not going to get an answer right away. That's the bottom line.
We meet before this meeting.
I suggest you
3 hours?
pick up the 500-pound phone and call sometimes and respond to your residents. We are not
Wait,
getting
excuse me, I
responses.
missed that. I didn't hear what you said.
I said, I suggest you pick up the 500-pound phone and call your residents when they contact you.
I don't have a 500-pound phone. What is that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean?
That means that
All right.
you're not responding or replying to your residents. We don't have
The
enough
re-
contact with the board.
Let's put this to a closure. If you have a friend who has a problem, have that friend call me. This individual has not called me. We're hearing it through you.
I
So this
called
matter's
you.
closed.
I called you, can't get through.
And to go back to the last statement about the inequities, Marge, when you bought here, was your house the same price as your neighbor's house? No. Was a one-bedroom the same price as a two-bedroom? No. The percentages that we pay, we all pay the exact same increase in our maintenance fee. Oh, you're going to say that we don't, Marge? Same dollar amount. I don't care about what the percentage is. That is immaterial. That is when you bought your house. That is when you bought your house. Marge, you were on the board, you know this, and you had a chance to change it. If you wanted it changed, we even talked about it when you were on the board, and there was no way that we could do it, because it's been the way that it was from 1972. Different models paid different prices when they came in.
There was a change in the payment method in 1996. So you had the period of...
She has to talk into a microphone.
Yeah,
Okay,
talking to
yeah,
Mike.
all right.
Talk
No,
into
we're
a
not- we're-
microphone so that the
Let me
people at
address this.
home can hear what you're saying.
Ms. King, you brought this up before. The board was aware of it. The budget has been completed. It is decided that it is not going to reevaluate the increases based on percentage nor per square foot area. It's a flat amount per unit. That's the way it's been, and that's the way it is for 2019, 2020. If the board wishes to decide that it needs to reassess the properties in a different fashion, subject to, residents' input, then it will do that for the following budget year, not this year. Next question.
Apropos, Joyce Cunliffe, Edinburgh Lane. Apropos of the current conversation, when I can only speak for a Greenbrier, which is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. When I moved in here in 1997, my maintenance was $114 a month. It is now going to be, with the FiOS, $248 a month. Those are the increases. That's a 104% increase. I'll talk to you later. The Victoria, which is the largest one in the village, in 97 was $185. In 2019, with FiOS, $319, a 64% increase. So you have a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom Greenbrier that got a 104% increase from 97 to 2019. But the Victoria only went up 64%. You tell me that the smaller units are not subsidizing the larger units?
No, the small units are not subsidizing anything.
Don't bring up square footage. I'm not talking about square footage.
I'm not talking about square footage either,
I'm
Joyce.
talking about the roof on a Greenbrier is small because it's 1 of 6 units. If you look at the Victoria, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 roofs. The cost to re-roof a Victoria is a lot more than it is to re-roof a Greenbrier. A Greenbrier has 1 bathroom. What does a Victoria have? 2?
3.
3. Oh, excuse me.
Joyce, all of the roofs get added together. So whether they're 5,000, 6,000, 8,000, they're all added together and divided by 2,692.
So the difference is
That's
that-
how it is.
The differences between the models in 1996, I guess it was, those differences were already built into it. But the costs went up equally. So if it cost more, you all shared the expense of anything that going forward, which was deemed common.
Okay.
So I just want to point out that
okay,
any methodology
Yeah.
would be imperfect, just like the one we have now. They're all imperfect. There's no great way to resolve this issue, and anyone who needs to do that has to spend time looking at it and modeling it to see what effect that would have over a long period of time.
I am sure we have people in this village who are capable of doing that, who have been owners of corporations. I'm sure they're capable
Absolutely.
of doing that. But for your information, there was no increase in maintenance in this village from 1982 to 1985. So how did they manage it then?
It was still Leisure Tech.
We cut staff.
It was still Leisure
To respond to that question, I think over the period of 2 years, there's been comments made by some of the residents that over this 10-year period, this village has grown in its complexity, has aged through time, as well as staff has been reduced with partial improvements in technology and equipment that they use. We have also heard comments from the residents that service is not as fast as it used to be. The village doesn't look as nice as it used to be. So this board and the past board have dedicated itself to making that change happen. With that comes, unfortunately, some rising costs. And that's what's happened over the past few years and will probably continue.
The reason, one of the reasons, I believe, that the maintenance is slower and less, because we have less personnel. If we didn't do so much micromanaging, we might have more personnel.
We have the same number of people. We have more people.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Les Spanky. I just moved in September, and I am not the son of Guy. We all know who Guy is. First of all, I'm up here not to complain, all right? Just a couple of concerns. I'm not here to complain. Everyone's come up that's been in front of me, and this is my first board meeting. They all complain. I mean, we live in a wonderful, wonderful community, okay? When I moved in September, went to the pool, all the people were absolutely wonderful. One woman goes, "Oh, your wife needs nails done?" They were just absolutely wonderful. I shoot pool with these guys at Willow. They're absolutely wonderful. Okay, it's a great community, yes. And I want to do a shout out right now to all the maintenance guys because they're absolutely wonderful. You call them, they're there a couple of days, and we had some issues when you first moved in. They were absolutely wonderful. So I want to talk about the positive stuff, okay? One of my concerns, I know it's all about this. It really is, okay? It's all about that, and I know it is. So I'm going to ask the question anyway. Why we don't have recycling every week. I mean, the wife and I go through bottles. I love my beer. I love soda. It fills up. And every 2 weeks, it just, you know, it's still not a complaint, but I know it's about this.
Yeah, that's
So
the township.
We don't even have to go there.
That's the township, it's not it's not us. It's the township that does the recycling.
Okay, all right. Once again, there are some people, and I'm not a loud person, but some people in the pool, the noise level sometimes really gets kind of crazy. I don't know if there's anything that we can do about that. You know, I'm probably being stupid, but they're talking so loud, it's just like you can't even enjoy yourself.
Go to Willow.
Oh,
hearing
we have a
aids.
couple of people laughing. You've heard that.
No hearing aids in the pools.
The other day, the DJs had music at the pool. It was absolutely wonderful. They had all 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you name it. It was absolutely wonderful. If we can somehow continue doing that, I think it would be great. Also, and once again, these are not complaints. These are just observations, okay? That's what I'm going to call it. These are not complaints. Food at the pool. I mean, hot dogs, hamburgers. I mean, you guys could make some money, you know? Honestly. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the compliments.
Is he available next Wednesday?
What's that?
Come to the budget meeting.
I said, are you available for next Wednesday's budget meeting? Come on down.
DJ or dance? What do you want from me?
Hello. My name is Rose Coleman Pawelski. I just made it. Let me just catch my breath. I couldn't make it because of my husband at the regular meeting, so I'm here at audience comments. I'm not here to complain either, but I do want to know, Mr. Mayoko sent me an email. He said, thank you for the update. I am the girl, by the way, that does the Aquasizer updates. And I was banned. I was banned for just telling you how many degrees the water is, how many degrees the outside is, and how many lifeguards we had. So I was banned from the site. Anyway, shame on you, and you know who I mean. I don't want to mention any names. I'm just saying again, shame on you. And there are a few board members here where I can say shame on you. Because what I did was not wrong, and I want an explanation. Oh yeah, Mr. Mayoko did tell me, thank you for the update. He wrote, this board does not see the need for your daily information. So I stopped. I understand the board has more important emails than my update, so I stopped sending them. But Mr. Mayoko, can you please tell me, did you vote on it? Because you wrote the board does not...
Yes, this matter was discussed by the board.
I see,
As
okay.
all emails are discussed by the board and responded to, either,
Okay.
as I mentioned before, on a one-to-one with the individual, or here in our board meetings or open discussions. So, yes, your matter was
Okay.
discussed before I responded.
All right, no problem.
And the board did not see the need for your statistical information on a daily basis. We get our information from our management, and that is suffice at this point. If we needed you for other sources, we will contact you. Thank you.
See, I totally understand. I am a resident in this village. I never shot anybody to kill. I never had a whorehouse. I never went over 30 on Buckingham. I'm just a regular resident. And if somebody would have told me and not just banned me from the unofficial Facebook page, would have been okay. I'm very
Well, I don't know
easygoing.
about banning, but I thank you for your information.
You're
and
welcome.
just said, you know, we don't need it daily. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. And I thank you. I had to get
It's
that.
closed. No.
My last comment is that just because something was done in 1972 does not mean that it's a good idea to continue it in 2019. And I'm going to let it go at that.
Yes, we all understand that, but my house cost $100,000 more than another house. So just because I get a $15 increase, and the house that was $100,000 less than my house gets the same increase, it's not my fault. It's no one's fault. We share the expenses. That's what the community is, the association is. We share the expenses equally. You don't pay the same amount of money as I do for my maintenance fee. I pay way over $300, and Eton does not pay that. But there is not one unit in this place now that is less than $200. But they are based on the individual buildings, the models. There's 21 models, there's 21 different prices.
Mr. Lubo, you have said that percentage does not matter.
I said the percentage does not matter on the expenses.
Mr. Lubo, I'm not done speaking. You have said the percentage doesn't matter. You ask any accountant in the world, percentage matters.
Not in this case, when the expenses are all the same. I pay the same
Expenses are not all the same.
Yes, they are. $15 expenses. Are you going to pay $15 increase? I'm going to pay $15 increase. Everybody here is going to pay a $15 increase. My unit costs a lot more than an Eton unit. So that's what we're all about. Percentages are only based on what you're calculating as what the overall expense is. Not in this case, dear.
Karen Hooyer, Buckingham Drive. I just want to thank the Garden Club for the Butterfield Garden. The butterfly garden just looks spectacular this year. It just looks gorgeous every time you drive down Huntington. I do have a question about where we stand on the in-house garbage pickup.
It's in progress.
We ordered the vehicles. We're about 10 months out. By the time it gets built and sent to the next dealer who's going to put the doors on, the next one who's going to put the body on. So all in all, about 10 months out from getting that delivery.
If I could just make a comment and plead to the resident, do not say anything to the garbage men, please. Sketchy service.
Bye-bye.
Sketchy service as it is. I get 30 calls every garbage day that they miss. I don't want it to get any worse. So please keep that to ourselves.
I do want to say one final thing about the pool situation, is that we had a pool committee who made the rules. We have 6 people that voted on it, and you had a lot of people here with grandchildren in opposition to it. And this is a small part of our community. So for 5 people to make a decision over everybody else who didn't want it, I think was just not fair.
5 people make the decisions for everything here. All you need is 4 to make the decisions for everyone here. You elected us to make the decisions.
The people that have come and attended today's meeting, and I do appreciate everyone's time and effort. I think it's very important.
And we appreciate all the effort you guys put in the time. So.
But there are many other people in the village that have a different point of view for the children, and we take that into consideration as well as all your comments. We have heard you, and if it doesn't work out, we will change it again.
It is a weird time for the kids to go to Willow from 4 to 7. I mean, that's dinner time. So
Well,
maybe
4
they
to
should
6
come from.
But that's the
they should
rules
go
for the
from
day.
Encore.
That's not being changed.
They should go from Encore right over to Willow.
That is not the change.
It's not the change, because you don't want the
we have
change.
not, we heard you, and we did not make
You
that
didn't
change.
hear everybody, obviously, so.
Yeah, we did. We were going to change the Willow rules too.
Okay.
I am not up here for the pool. I am up here to ask, since
Who are you? Who are you?
since the garbage is being changed, isn't
Could
that
you identify yourself, please?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Penelope Bosco, 762C Liverpool Circle. And I would like to know, since the garbage are going to become our garbage men, where you're getting staff, and also, is this going to reduce our maintenance eventually, because the garbage is within our maintenance, and if we're saving money by doing garbage, when are we going to see that difference?
You'll see a little bit in this budget, but again, like I said, it's going to be 9 to 10 months before we get these trucks, so it's going to be a while in this contract. You'll see most of it come up in the 2021 budget is where you'll see it. Where are we going to get the people? Probably starting from, they're going to be driver rates. So few of Jim's people now may want to put in for it.
Okay.
And maybe Mary's people, for all I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so that'll be the drivers, and then any 2 new hires will come in and work the grounds crew after that.
All right, you don't think you'd have a problem covering both grounds and garbage and?
I don't believe so.
No?
Don't forget, we're gonna have 2 trucks, not just one, so it'd be 2 trucks and
Right.
two people picking up. So it's really doubling the effort with the same amount of area to pick up. You got something?
Just to piggyback that, we will be bringing 2 employees in, and we'll actually have an off day on trash on Wednesdays. So we'll pick up a little extra labor on that Wednesday to give towards the grounds crew. So we'll have a little bolstered staff on top of what we have on our off garbage day.
Well, since you have 2 trucks
And snow removal and all that.
Since you have 2 trucks, right now they have 1 truck that does Monday, Thursday, and then the same truck does Tuesday, Friday. How are the 2 trucks gonna do it?
We're planning on keeping the same schedules.
Even with 2 trucks?
Yeah, we may divvy the village up a little bit differently, but it will be, you'll have 2 pickups a week. And we hope to be done sooner in the day. So maybe on the back end of the day, we have an hour or 2 that they can jump in and help out on the edging or any of those things that we need to catch up on.
We chose to keep it
Okay.
that way too, because after a holiday, there's going to be a double pickup. So those 2 trucks will be picking up 2 different areas.
Okay,
Right.
it makes sense, and you're saying we will see a little reduce in
You will
maintenance?
see it. You see a little bit
next
now
year.
in this budget coming up, but the most of it will happen in 2021.
Okay, thank you very much.
Joe,
If I could,
little question?
Mary Lou Ruggiero, 540.
excuse me, Mary, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
The past year or so, we've made some pretty tough decisions. One of the sound ones we made, we brought in solar. We're going to start reaping the benefits of solar, probably next year. We're going to reap the benefits of having our own sanitation. All of these will help to defray future increases. I'm not saying there will not be an increase, but for argument's sake, instead of $4, we might bring it down to $2. I don't know. But we have to put things in motion that we will start gaining things. So don't think that everything we do, doesn't have a benefit. Part of our decision-making is that. And we work with the finance division, we work with the architectural division, we work with the admin division, and we work with Joe and his staff when we make our decision.
Okay, one second. Joe, the new trucks, the individual trucks it's a little smaller.
Smaller, just smaller capacity.
That's right. So
Definitely smaller.
that's why, Penny, we opted for the 2 trucks to be able to ensure that Monday, they could do everything that this 1 truck is doing. So they're not going to be like on the same block. They might be in different areas at the same time. Okay.
And hopefully, they will not have to do as many backups, that they will be able to go in and out of the spiders without backing the trucks into the spiders.
And if I may.
Because they're smaller vehicles.
Also, with the smaller vehicles, it will not require a CDL license. A regular driver's license will be sufficient, so we don't have to pay that higher rate of pay. We
And there'll be
keep the
more
weight
people.
load, excuse me?
And there'll be more people to choose from.
Right, and then if by chance someone calls out sick, we're not relying only on employees that have CDL license. We can pull from the pool of anybody that can step up. Trash will be a priority. Thank you.
Next, Mary.
Mary Lou Ruggiero, 545C Norwich Court. Just something that I know can't be changed. We listen to everybody about everything on paper, the numbers, and all of the things that are explained to us about the burden to some people. I wouldn't feel right if I didn't say at the podium, even if there was nothing that could have been changed, to give the amount of increase all at one time to some of the residents here, I wouldn't feel right if I didn't say it's a burden to them. We have elderly people, neighbors living near me on a fixed income who maybe think they can't stay here anymore, and that saddens me. I know paper is what you may have to go by, but I think sometimes we're forgetting the human aspect of what happens to certain people. And that makes me sad, and I wish it could be changed. And if I could, I would like to be allowed to ask Mr. D'Amato a question, if I might.
Sure.
And it's just, you don't have to answer if you don't want, but I just want pointed out to me that one of the things I remembered about you at the podium, and one of the things you were very strong whenever you spoke, you came up here over every dime that the board was spending. I'm not insulting you. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It was a good thing. I'm sure it helped you get elected. You nitpicked every dime. My question is, do you do the same thing when you're back sitting with the board? I would like to know that you don't. It would make me feel better if I thought you didn't agree with everything, that you were against some things that have to do with money.
There are some things that I have disagreed with. Joe's aware of a few, as Jim is.
He still does it.
Yeah, I'm still questioning a lot of things, so the votes in the back room are not always unanimous. I do question.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm the only one who's opposed to it, but I am still questioning the dollars and cents.
No, that's a good thing.
I sat in with the,
I would like to think you just didn't torture us out here.
Oh, no, no.
I would like to think.
Yesterday, I sat in with the managers' meeting and was privy to everything that was going on with each division and what each division has on a wish list and what statuses were being completed. So I'm still there. I'm also the assistant treasurer. So you can ask Michelle. I've been at a couple
and
other meetings.
You didn't have to respond, thank you. But
no, I still have 2 more years, Sal.
If you didn't respond, I was going to tell you that you never let the board get away with not giving you an answer. So I'm very glad you answered. Thank you.
Trust me, there's times that lose, like Ashpet already.
And now, Mr. Lupo, today, you got to relax. You got to take it easier. You're right in what you say, but
You should see him in the workshop.
He got crazy today.
Because I get tired of being criticized that we don't think these things out.
Okay.
Give us some credit. We think these things out. We've tried to do it, as Marge was talking about with the inequity of the way the maintenance is done. I worked it all out, but it couldn't be done. I was able to do it for operations, for the operational money, but not counting in the reserves that we still have to adjust every year. So it's not as easy. And my entire career was with computer science, accounting, where I had to write systems. I know percentages. I know how to do APRs, all of this stuff. And to say that a percentage means anything when it's increases in expenses, that you're in a community, we're a commune. That's part of community. We all pay the same, whether we use stuff or not. So $15 for you is $15 for me. Yes. You paid $200,000 for your house and another person paid $100,000. It's never going to be the exact same maintenance. The increase is always going to be the same.
I just wish in my heart there was something we could do for the people who didn't afford it.
I'm sorry if I gave, but I answer the phone. I get emails at night. I stopped answering my phone after 6 o'clock at night. Wow. I can answer emails at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. So my job as a trustee is to worry about fiduciary responsibilities. Our trustees here, our job is not to get a call from you and take care of your problem. That's not our job.
But we do it.
We do it, but it's not our job. And to say that we don't answer calls, we don't respond to emails, we didn't even have emails 5 years ago.
Well,
So this is the thing. You know, I get upset when I hear the same thing for 5 years. This is my 5th year, and I'm hearing the same thing.
All right,
It's not
now
an us and them.
but you're going on again, you understand?
I know.
Doing the same
I guess-
thing. Now, here's what I expect to see you at the pool, that extra hour helping watch the kids.
Not my job. Again, not my job as a trustee. That's what we paid, that all the residents wanted lifeguards.
Mary Lou?
Chuck, you're complaining about 5, right? I've been doing this for 15.
I have a response. With the increases that we're getting, initially, when you bought in here 47 years ago, your maintenance was a percentage of what you paid for your unit. So if you and I bought the same unit and I paid $20,000 more than you did, my maintenance was higher, because initially your maintenance was based on the sale of the unit. I sat with Michelle 2 years ago trying to go through this formula, which is mind-boggling as to how it was ascertained what you pay. And it started out with what you paid per unit. A percentage of that became your maintenance fees. Then, at one point in time, I believe in the 90s, we turned around and said, it's going to be an across-the-board for everybody. So whatever it was, from that point forward, you got an increase, be it 3, 4, 7, 15. Everybody got an across-the-board raise. So this is why people feel there's such a disparity between it. But it's from the get-go of 47 years ago. In order to change it, you need an 86% of the residents to participate with a vote. We can't get 52% to participate in an election. You're never going to get that change.
Let's go to next question.
Okay. Walter Dailisky, Stratford Court. Concerning the garbage trucks, smaller trucks with a less capacity are going to have to make more trips to the dump? Or how does that exactly work?
No, they'll have the capability between the two of them to have enough capacity to dump once.
2 trucks?
2 trucks.
2 drivers?
2 drivers.
2 drivers going?
Right. The 2 trucks are larger than the 1 truck that currently picks up our garbage.
A little
Two
bit
together.
less, a little bit less. But the large truck.
I mean, that was a contracted rate, okay, but now it's our people that are taking time out and they're doing, okay, if it was one of our drivers with a large truck, okay, it would make 1 run, okay? Now we're going to have 2 workers with 2 smaller trucks going there.
Correct, and paying less than you're paying now.
But it wasn't
Not to mention,
workers.
at the end of this contract, you're going to get hit hard because we only had 1 vendor.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I'm just saying.
that, okay.
Yes, you're right in one sense. We're going to have 2 guys going there to sometime during the day to the dump, as opposed to the one that they use. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
Walter, the other factor that we considered in getting 1 or 2 is if the vehicle is down for maintenance issue, now you have no trucks if we stay with just the 1 and there's no garbage pickup.
No, I
So that gives
understand
us a
that,
little
but
bit
it's, it's the back and forth, that's downtime. Okay, so an 8-hour day all of a sudden turns into 6 or 5 or something
Right,
like that
but
because of the
we
trucks are going
did
back and
calculate
forth.
all of that into our plan. Being that it's 2 trucks picking up the same thing that 1 truck did, right? So they'll be twice as fast than that 1 truck. And they'll have more time to go to the dump. That last couple hours We're hoping to get that back to grounds work. So let them go dump, come back, they'll be done with the route, and let's put them to work doing other things.
Okay, good luck. Thank you.
Yeah, and that we can't change after a 2-week period.
Again, Art Pedowitz, 1171B Thornbury. Just want to make a comment because people have been talking about the increases, and I'm sure you'll hear a lot more next week. But if we're in a condo community, everybody's paying the same amount when they have the increase, whether they like it or not, okay? If you go to a community in Monroe Township, Clearbrook, depending on the section that you live in, some sections, they invested the money that people pay monthly, wisely. Other sections, if somebody's roof, whether it's 2,000 square foot or 20,000 square foot, has to be replaced, everybody in that section gets an assessment. You're talking sometimes of thousands of dollars. So you want to pay everything at once with an assessment, or would you rather just pay monthly? That's the bottom line.
Thank you.
Hi, I just have one question. Rose Coleman, Pullum Court. I have to bring up the lifeguards in the pool again. Because you're all talking about maintenance charges and everything. Do the lifeguards get paid? Does our maintenance increase because of the lifeguards? This is my question. Who can answer that? Nobody? I want to know if it affects our maintenance, the lifeguards.
So eventually, yeah, putting aside what we're talking about for next year, whether we're going to have guards or not, let's
Right.
assume you're going to have guards. So the minimum wage that's affecting us is also going to affect pool companies, guard companies, everything. Everyone's going to get affected in that.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is because who can answer this? One lifeguard costs I read it online someplace. One lifeguard costs so much and 2 lifeguards cost so much more. Is that true?
Oh, yeah.
Hourly wages. Hourly wages.
Hourly. Now, I don't know if you're aware, but I'm at the pool every day, and there was one day where there was only 1 lifeguard. Now, does the other lifeguard get paid automatically, or how does that work?
We actually, if I may, we have a meeting with the pool company, a follow-up again tomorrow.
Right.
Following up from 2 weeks, and we keep a log of every hour that they're not
You do.
here, every 15 minutes they're not here, and we receive a credit back for that.
Okay, I'm on the pool committee, but I don't know when their meetings are. I personally think you should speak with the lifeguard head and tell him that all these lifeguards need training and they need to be aware what our needs are. Somebody fell on the steps in Willow, and the lifeguard didn't help him. A resident helped him. So, from my sayings before, when I was up here, I didn't get an answer. I don't know if you want to answer me or not, but I'm not, bullying is not on my agenda. And that's all I want to say.
What answer did you want, Roseanne?
Because my Aquasize update was nothing. There was nothing to it. Because one person, and they call her the Gestapo, I know who she is, she said, don't do Aquasize updates. She said to somebody. And because of that, they took me off. So,
Isn't this the same question you asked before?
She didn't get an answer, she said. That's
I didn't
why-
get an
that's
answer.
why-
What's your question directly?
My question was, why was I taken off? It has nothing to do with the board meeting. Why was I taken off the page?
Oh,
What page?
talking
What
about- no, no,
page?
she's talking
The
about
unofficial, I think.
Oh,
talking about
that's
Facebook.
not a matter for the board.
I know, okay, it's
Oh,
not.
Okay,
So
thank
I'll
you.
write you in person.
Thank
Okay,
you.
whatever.
Talk to me.
The audience portion of this meeting is now adjourned. And it got a little exciting.
More paper?